So forms 8 to 11. This section we're going to look at some sprinting and some sprint starts, reaction times and stuff like that. So we are all still not the best at getting a good start, and it's mainly down to our technique at the start of the race. So I'm going to show you two different types of starting points, and then we're going to look at some reaction times and things like that. So how do we determine what's our strongest foot? So what we need to do is, if you stand forward facing, put your hands to the side, lean forward till you feel past it, and then put a foot down. The first one you normally put down is generally the one that you're going to want to have going forward. Now, experiment and do it with both feet to see what becomes more natural. So for me, it's much more natural to have my left foot coming forward. When we then look into our sprint start, if we stand relatively straight on like this, when I shout go, or the whistle goes, you will automatically kick your foot back to get that bit of extra power. Now, that is not ideal because you're going backwards before when we want to go forwards. So how do we look at that? So this is what we're going to do. We're going to practice. You can practice it in your garden and see what becomes more comfortable for you. So if this is my start line, how I want it is I want my left foot facing forward, my back leg nicely bent and with all my power, and then I'm going to lean forward as much as I can, and then I'm going to drive forward with my knee as I come forward. So I'm basically almost falling over, leaning forward, and then as the whistle goes, I'm automatically going to fall forward. So we'll look a little, take your marks, set, go. And you see how I drove my arm and knee. So as we fall forward, take your marks, set, bang, drive that knee up. Really explode out that thigh as well. We're going to look at that in a minute. So that's one. So that's this position here, where we're leaning right on the tips of our toes, on our feet, ready to explode off. The second one, if this is our line, you put your feet in an L, bring it back one more, so then upside down L. From here, we then settle down with our knee roughly adjacent to our foot, and then our hands will fit nicely on the line. Then from here, this is your take your marks position. When we get to set, you should then be able to lean forward till you're almost falling over and explode up from there. So from side on, that will look, take your marks, set. So you see how I'm really leaning forward, up, and then I explode from here and drive that knee forward. Have a play around with those two, see which one suits you best. Okay, as we move into the second part of our sprint start. Now, initially, we've now practiced, we know which is our strongest foot going forward, we've worked out what start is our preferred method, and we're always leaning forward, ready to fall out the blocks. Now, second is what a lot of us struggle with. We don't really explode or drive through our hips, quads, hamstrings and knees. A lot of us sprint with quite low legs. If you watch the 100 meters, once they're out of those blocks and driving, their thighs and legs, as they're sprinting, come up to a high point, okay? So we're going to practice that with this drill. I've obviously got a ladder. You obviously probably not going to have one of these. So very simply, just put marks in the ground with paint. You can put marks on the ground with sticks. Doesn't really matter as long as you've got something to go through. And all we're going to do, so I'm going to do it with one leg first, is put my foot in and then explode up and practice really driving that knee up over half point, okay? So that's one leg, and then I'm going to do it on the other. So we're going to start slow at a walking pace. And so you should feel the difference in power as you're pushing. You should feel your abdominals contracting, you're driving with this. This is all about power, and then this is the whole point. So you can see I'm starting to throw my hands in. Once you've walked through it and got an idea of what it looks like, we're going to try and do it at a little bit of a quicker pace. So see how you do. This is me doing it at a quicker pace. You go away and practice driving those hips and knees up and in a straight line. Not across here, literally up and into a forward motion. On to the third section of this sprinting to make sure we're getting our technique completely right. Once we get out of our blocks, we start accelerating and we're into our stride. What a lot of us struggle with is our arms come across our body and our knees aren't driving. So we've worked on our hips driving forward. Now we need to get our arms going in a forward motion. So most people run with our hands in a straight. You can put them in fists, but it's not as effective. So this time I'm going to keep the ladder. I'm doing the same knee drive, but this time I'm going to really pump my arms forward in a straight line. The way to try and imagine this is if you sprint with your hands down by your side and see how fast you go, and then pump your arms at way quicker than you normally would. The arms are connected to your legs, and so the quicker you and harder you pump your arms, it's not just as effective, but will also increase your speed. So we're going to do the same drill, but this time we're going to have both feet coming in and exploding up, but this time I really want us to drive those arms in a forward line, really exploding, really driving that stuff forward. So hips, knees, quads, arms, chest is all going forward in a powerful dynamic movement rather than losing the power going sideways or having lazy arms, we call it. Okay? So this might go away and have a little practice of this and then see how you get on. Now we've looked at those three things. I want us to look at one last bit, and that is reaction. When we're at the start, a lot of us do tend to look and try and listen and watch what the starter is doing. What we really want to try and focus on is either the ground or what is right in front of us down the track. So it depends what works best for you. And the reason we do that is we want to be curled into a tight ball. If I'm looking here and then I see it and hear it, I have to turn and go. So we want to keep our focus down. So what I want us to do for this one is just kind of implement it into a proper 100 meters or however big a space you have. So all I want you to do, practice the same set starts, work at that acceleration and driving those knees, and then once you're in your full stride, really pick those knees and arms up. But in the meantime, all I want us to do is focus, getting our head down, shouting go and reacting. So last section, have a go at some longer sprints, work out what starting position works best for you, then work at that hips and arm drive, and the last one, reaction of keeping your head still and listening rather than looking around. That's it for today. Look forward to seeing you all on Wednesday.